line 510, page number
Yeah, yes,
429.
very good.
Even a stranger's anguish rends my heart, and this, O Narad, is my well-loved child. Hide not from us our doom, if doom is ours. This is the worst, an unknown phase of fate, a terror ominous, mute, felt more than seen, behind our seat by day, our couch by night, a fate lurking in the shadow of our hearts, the anguish of the unseen that waits to strike. To know is best, however hard to bear.
Yeah, there was one line that I thought you could have done better when after the after her mother says, "And this, O Narad, is my well-loved child." And those three lines you read very beautifully, but those two lines, but but she's appealing to Narad. She's saying, "Hide not from us our doom, if doom is ours." So
Hmm.
you can't read it just flat.
Okay.
Because hide not from us our doom. What does that mean? Hide not from us our doom, if doom is ours. This is the worst, an
Hmm.
unknown face of fate, a terror ominous. Ominous is foreboding and evil. Mute, silent, felt more than seen. And where is that fate? It's behind our seat by day, our couch by night. Our couch means our bed.
Hmm.
A fate lurking in the shadow of our hearts, the anguish of the unseen that waits to strike. To know is best, however hard to bear.
Hmm.
It's so anguished, huh?
Yeah.
Because this is just, she's just become aware of this.
Yeah.
And she, and she's her mother. Okay.
Then cried the sage, piercing the mother's heart, forcing to steal the will of Savitri. His words set free the spring of cosmic fate. The great
Well,
gods,
okay.
the great gods use the pain of human hearts as a shape, as a sharp axe to hew their cosmic road. They slander lavishly men's blood and tears for a moment's purpose in their fateful work.
Yeah. Now it's actually squander, not
Squander.
slander, but
Okay,
squander. Yeah.
squander.
Squander. And
Squander.
so what he does now when he cries means speaking out
He's speaking out. Yeah.
strongly,
Yeah.
piercing, and he pierces the mother's heart. But at the same time, he is forcing to steal the will of Savitri. He's making
He's
will like
making her will go stronger.
yes. At the
Hmm.
same time as he's piercing the mother's heart, he's doing this to Savitri, and
Hmm.
he says that his words set free the spring of the spring here. Spring is something that leaps forth, huh?
Hmm.
A spring of cosmic fate, something that leaps forth. And
Yeah.
he says the great gods use the pain of human hearts like a sharp axe
Hmm.
to cut through the cosmic road. And they even squander, they waste lavishly men's blood and tears for a moment's purpose in their fateful work. It's sometimes very hard for us to understand this, but I can give you an example from Mother
Hmm.
when 70,000 people in Peru were killed in one moment in that great earthquake.
Oh,
70,000 it took.
wow.
And so this disciple asked Mother, but weren't some of those people aware of their souls? And Mother said, so few are aware of their souls.
Mm.
Most of them had no awareness at all.
Mm.
And they will go into another birth now. But it's very interesting that 70,000.
Mm.
So they squander lavishly men's blood and tears for a moment's purpose. What is that moment's purpose in their fateful work? It's to move the evolution forward.
Mm.
He says they're the great gods, the great gods. So they're not doing this out of any sense of violence or retribution or anything like that. They're doing it to move the evolution.
Mm.
So carry on.
This cosmic nature's balance is not ours, nor the mystic measure of her need and use. A single word lets loose vast agencies. A casual act determines the world's fate. So now he set free destiny in that hour.
So even a single word can let loose vast agencies. It can be a very positive word. It can be a word like uh, divine grace,
Mm.
divine fate. It doesn't have to be a negative word at all.
Yeah.
So this cosmic nature's balance is not ours. Even the mystic measure of her need and use is not ours.
Mm.
It's the divine's. And the divine can let a single word loose that will release vast agencies. In the Bible, we have, let there be light, and there was light.
Mm.
Just like that.
Mm.
Be light, and there was light.
Mm.
Wow. Wow. Or there's the one about the word, huh? And the word was made flesh. So, so now Narad is going to set Destiny free by telling her what's going to happen.
The truth thou hast claimed, I give to thee the truth, a marvel of the meeting, earth and heavens, is he whom Savitri has chosen mid men. His figure is the front of nature's march. His single being excels the works of time. A sapphire cutting from the sleep of heaven, delightful is the soul of Satyavan, a ray out of the rapturous infinite, a silence waking to a hymn of joy.
So it's a ray out of the rapturous infinite, a ray that comes out of the rapturous infinite.
Hmm.
And so he's describing this young man who is so perfect that he calls him a sapphire cutting from the sleep of heaven.
Hmm.
His soul is delightful. It's a ray out of the rapturous infinite. It's a silence waking to a hymn of joy.
Hmm.
How beautiful, huh? And we carry on.
A divinity and kingliness grid his brow.
Gird, gird.
Gird.
And gird
A
means to
divinity
surround.
surround, okay.
A
A
divinity.
divinity and kingliness gird his brow, his
Brow.
eyes,
Brow.
brow,
Like
his
ow.
eyes,
Ow. You
his
get a little
eyes,
say ow. Okay.
A divinity and kingliness gird his brow.
Yes.
His eyes keep a memory from a world of bliss, as brilliant as a lonely moon in heaven, gentle, like the sweet bud that spring desires, pure like a stream that kisses silent banks. He takes with bright surprise spirit and sense.
Yes, what a description of this young man, huh?
Yeah.
He even says that he keeps a memory from a world of bliss. That's
Mm.
where he came. And he's as brilliant as a lonely moon in heaven. And he's as gentle like the sweet bud that opens in the spring. He's even pure like a stream that kisses silent banks. What a lovely image. The stream kissing silent banks.
Yeah.
And he's a living knot of golden paradise.
A living knot of golden paradise, a blue immense, he leans to the longing world, time's joy borrowed out of eternity, a star of splendor or a rose of bliss.
Well, nothing more to say there. It's just,
Yeah.
it's so marvelous. So we'll carry on.
In him, soul and nature, equal presences, balance and fuse in a wide harmony. The happy The happy in their bright ether have not hearts more sweet and true than this of mortal make, that takes all joy as the world's native gift, and to all gives joy as the world's nature, as the world's natural light, right.
Yeah. So he's continuing on with this great praise of Satyavan.
Satyavan, yeah.
And he says the happy, that's the people that's the angels,
Oh,
those
okay.
those in heaven, in their bright ether. But he says they don't even have hearts that are sweeter than this mortal guy, this
Hmm.
human.
Wow.
Yeah. And
And to all gives joy as the world's natural right.
yeah,
His
he
speech carries
yeah. Sorry, go ahead. Yeah.
his speech carries a light of inner truth and a large-eyed communion with the power in common things has made veilless his mind, a seer in earth shapes of
Garbless.
garbless deity.
Garbless deity means without any clothes. It means
Okay.
naked, nude. So he's a seer in garbless deity. He's a seer who's just so perfect
Hmm.
and pure that he doesn't even have any dress or have to dress.
Hmm.
So he gives joy to everybody
Hmm.
as the natural right of the world.
Yeah.
His speech carries the light of the inner truth.
Hmm.
And then and then that's a comma. So then we have to read and a large-eyed communion with the power in common things. You see that little brief pause
Hmm.
because it's with the power in common things that has made his mind veilless. In other words, there are no screens, no veils um, in front of his mind.
Hmm.
He is a seer in earth shapes, so he's a seer in human form of a deity that is pure and nude.
A tranquil breadth of sky, windless and still, watching the world like a mind of unplumbed thought, a silent space, musing and luminous, uncovered by the morning to delight, a green tangle of trees upon a happy hill, made into a murmuring nest by southern winds. These are his images and parallels, his kin in beauty and in depth his peers.
Wow, how beautiful, huh?
Mm.
So he watches the world like a mind of unplumbed thought, just like that.
So pure. Mm.
Yeah, a silent space, musing and luminous, uncovered by the morning to delight. A green tank. So these are all images that Narad is giving to the parents. He's like a green tangle of trees on a happy hill.
Mm.
He's like uh, and that green tangle of trees is made into a murmuring nest by southern winds. These are his images and parallels, his kin in beauty and in depth his peers. So we have to go a little more yet.
A will to climb lifts a delight to live. Heaven's height companion of of I'll read
Heaven's
that
height,
again.
heaven's height,
Heaven's height companion of earth beauty's charm, an aspiration of the immortal's heir
to the immortals here.
to the immortal's heir, lain on the lap of mortal ecstasy.
So basically, he does have a will to climb.
Hmm.
He's very much an evolutionary being. He has a great delight to live, and he's heaven's, the companion of heaven's height, of earth beauty's charm. So he is heaven's height, he's the height of heaven, but
Hmm.
he's the companion of the charm of the earth beauty.
Hmm.
So an aspiration to the immortal's air is lain on the lap of mortal ecstasy. That's his ecstasy.
Narad, before we move on, can you please read for me from line 560, a tranquil breath of sky? I feel
Sure.
like I still didn't get that portion.
Yeah, sure. A tranquil breadth of sky, windless and still, watching the world like a mind of unplumbed thought, a silent space, musing and luminous, uncovered by the morning to delight, a green tangle of trees upon a happy hill, made into a murmuring nest by southern winds. These are his images and parallels, his kin in beauty and in depth his peers. A will to climb lifts a delight to live. Heaven's height, companion of earth beauty's charm, an aspiration to the immortal's air, lain on the lap of mortal ecstasy.
Hmm. Beautiful, thank you.
Yeah.
His sweetness and his joy attract all hearts to live with his own in a glad tenancy.
Tendency, yes.
tenancy. His strength is like a tower built to reach heaven, a godhead quarried from the stones of life. O
Uh,
loss if death into its elements, of which his gracious envelope was built, shatter this vase before it breathes its sweets, as if earth could not keep too long from heaven. A treasure thus unique, loaned by the gods, a being so rare, of so divine a make, in one brief year, when this bright hour flies back, and perches careless on a branch of time, This sovereign glory ends heaven lent to earth. The splendor vanishes from the mortal's sky. Heaven's greatness came, but was too great to stay. 12 swift-winged months are given to him and her. This day returning, Satyavan must die.
So he says his sweetness and his joy attracts everybody
Hmm.
to live with him in a glad tenancy. Well, if you're a tenant in a house, you live with others.
Hmm.
So that's the idea of the tenancy.
Okay.
And his strength is like a tower, huge strength, built to reach heaven. He's even he's even like a godhead quarried from the stones of life. Oh. And then he says, "Oh loss, if death into its elements, of which this gracious envelope was built, shatter this vase before it breathes its sweets. As if earth could not keep too long from heaven a treasure thus unique, loaned by the gods, a being so rare, of so divine a make." So here he's telling us what a sad disaster it would be
Hmm.
if he should die before he could breathe his sweets,
Hmm.
his sweetness into the air, and so now we have a very interesting thought here, um, that many of the greats of the world have died when they are very young.
Yeah.
Schubert in his 30s, Mozart in his 30s.
Hmm.
They didn't even get to live a long life,
Hmm.
and they could have composed so much more.
Hmm.
So many great beings die before their time.
Hmm.
And it's as if earth couldn't keep too long from heaven their treasure that was loaned by the gods.
Hmm.
It makes us really think back.
Hmm.
And then he says, in one brief year, and look at the poetry here, when this bright hour flies back
Hmm.
and perches like a
Yeah.
bird perches
Good.
careless branch of time,
Yeah.
sovereign, not sovereign, but sovereign.
Sovereign. Okay.
The sovereign glory ends that heaven lent to earth. This splendor vanishes from the mortal sky. And then he says, heaven's greatness came, but was too great to stay. Heaven's greatness is Satyavan. Heaven's greatness came,
Hmm.
but was too great to stay. And that's what I've just mentioned to you about these great souls who have come.
Hmm.
Very often they're poets or musicians, they're people of great creative vision.
Hmm.
So 12 swift winged months. Why swift winged? Well, because
Because
before you realize it, it's gone. Huh?
yeah. Yeah.
And especially for someone who is so pure and so perfect that before you know it, he'll be gone.
Hmm.
And that's all that's given to him and her. All that's given to Satyavan and Savitri.
Hmm.
So when this day returns, the day that they have met, and Savitri is at the palace with everyone, this day when it returns, Satyavan must die.
Hmm.
You want to go a little more?
Yeah, we can go a little more.
A little bit more, I think,
Yeah.
yeah.
A lightning bright and nude, the sentence fell. But the queen cried, Vain then can be heaven's grace. Heaven mocks us with the brilliance of its gifts, for death is the cup-bearer of the wine of too brief joy held up to mortal lips, for a passionate moment by the careless gods.
So we'll end there because that's a good place to end because
Okay.
then she has to talk to her
I,
daughter.
w- I, w- I would like to reread it. I feel like I didn't connect it properly. So,
Certain, certain.
but then the queen cried, "Vain then can be
No,
heaven's
you got to
grace,
get your V again. You're losing your V.
but
Vain,
vain."
vain.
But the queen cried, "Vain then can be heaven's grace. Heaven mocks us with the brilliance of its gifts, for death is the cupbearer of the wine of too brief joy held up to mortal lips for a passionate moment by the careless gods."
Yeah, she says death is the bearer of this wine, of this joy of wine that's all too brief, held
Mm,
up to mortal lips
mm,
for a passionate moment by the careless gods.
mm.
And then she'll speak a lot about it.
Yeah,
She'll speak to her daughter. So very good reading. You made a big progress, I feel. A
thank
good
you.
progress. Yep. And some of the lines were read very, very well.
Thank you.
Good work.
See you on Monday.
Okay, see you Monday. Namaste.
Namaste. Take care, Narad. Bye.